Oh, excuse me.
But Victor didn't play too much in the second half, but how nice was it for him just to get out there and get some live game action after all the practices and shoot-arounds he's been a part of?
Recording in progress.
I know he's been looking forward to it. He's been pushing to get out there, but I think the time was appropriate, and I think the plan was appropriate coming out of training camp, and we'll just build from there.
What's it say, even with a lot of the regulars out, that I think it was 28 assists on 38 baskets, but also like it seemed like 9 or 10 guys had multiple assists. A bunch of guys had 4. Guys sharing the ball, getting everyone else involved, even on a night like this. What's that say about how the group is getting what you want them to be playing like?
Yeah, the work has been very intentional, and the guys have really embraced that. Trusting the pass and sharing in the game, and it just makes it a whole lot more fun when the ball's moving, and you always feel like you have a chance of touching the ball. And I think a lot of this is also a carryover from last year. We were a very willing passing team and a willing sharing team. And so you bring a majority of the group back, and even though the young guys, been playing a lot of these minutes, they're seeing it from the vets, in practice and in training camp. So they follow suit. But it's certainly a good habit to start to establish early on.
Because there's 2 parts to this. One, how have you felt like Nick has held up defensively in the minutes at center? And then 2, is there a developmental benefit to asking him not to switch but to play like more traditional coverages when he is at center?
Yeah, right now it's about working on our base coverages. Eventually, I think he could be a guy that can switch. That's the easy route right now, as we're trying to develop some habits and develop some technique and some detail, with our defense. He's a quick learner. So he picks up things faster than I probably anticipated for a kid his age. He's diligent. He works at it in the pre-practice, after practice, watches film. He takes accountability for his mistakes, and he just doesn't often make the same mistake twice in a row. But I think that's some of the intel that we got, from our scouts, that he's a smart player.
Just another one on Nikola. I think we knew what he was as a passer coming in, but it seems like there's a willingness to put him in those like high post splits and just have him play make over the top.
Yeah.
Just how comfortable are you in him in those spots of the floor, just to kind of
that was
run that stuff?
The first thing that jumped out when the scouts had us watch edits on him. I literally had never even heard of him. And it was his passing. I mean, he was a ball-handling, passing 3-man. Previously in Europe, he never played the 4 or the 5, so I think that was part of his struggle in summer league. Obviously, playing a new game and new environment and everything, but he was also playing 2 positions that he had never even played before. But his passing, just in general, for me, I think any young player that knows how to pass and that's a willing passer is super unique. All these players coming up, nobody's really looking to pass. They're looking to score, looking to put points on the board. I think it's just a really interesting skill set when people can see the floor, can see 2 plays ahead, and he had a lot of that. As a young player playing in an adult men's professional league, he was developing a lot of those habits. So we're playing him a little bit, more as a passing big, which fits right into his skill set.
And when you're describing that, it sounds like you're describing Bam in a lot of ways when you're talking about his passing ability. When you think about the possibility of them playing together and kind of bouncing off that type of passing ability, like what do you think of in the offense?
Well, I think the more players that you can have that can see the game, see the floor, read defenses, the better your team has a chance to generate high-quality shots. And the comparison it was a little bit different because Bam was not that initially. He was more like a screen and roll guy, and then we eventually started to find out that he could really pass. And I just think that's a really unique skill set when bigs can pass the ball and see the floor and see the game.
It seems almost it's a given that it's either Duncan or Max in a lot of lineups. First half, it was that way. They played together in the third quarter. Could you envision, depending if your starting lineup goes one way, playing Duncan and Max together?
I'm open to anything. They're both so ignitable, and they both put a tremendous amount of stress on defenses. You can just see a lot of overreactions. They're off-ball players, catch-and-shoot players, coming off screens, handoffs, a lot of movement, and again, there's not a lot of those kind of players in this league right now. It's pretty much a pick-and-roll dominant league, a lot of times with three other guys, spacing the floor for those high-usage players. So I think it's just a unique part of our menu that we can access, and both of them are really electric when they get it going.
Going back to Nikola, was the rebounding something you anticipated when you were kind of getting that film and stuff from the scouts?
I mean, he rebounded pretty well over there. You just don't know analytically if that translates, to the NBA. So I was just kind of open to seeing that. Initially I didn't even envision playing him as a 5. We've been doing that just more for the development and to get him out there. With these young guys, Kane and Highsmith have taken a lot of those minutes at the 4, so it was like, all right, where else can we go to get him out there? And that's been at the 5, and I really just kind of did it initially, just let's see what happens. And let's just get him those minutes, and he's responded well. He's had some really good moments. He's had some moments where he's gotten beaten up a little bit. He's had some moments where he's made some mistakes, but again, he's very coachable. He takes responsibility, and he really works at trying to correct things that didn't go well. And I think that also is a skill when you can see something and not make the same mistake over and over and over.
And then what did you like from Victor's minutes?
I just like the fact get him out there in one of these games before we get going. I've seen it, in the practice sessions. I know he's really been pushing to try to get in the game, and I think he and the trainers have had a very appropriate plan. But I think most of the best thing was just getting him out there.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, thank you.